I'm here today to read Abdallah words to you, words that we managed to sneak outside Syria, words that dictator can never censor, words that we need in order to remind the world that inside Syria there are still people who are working every single day to create a space for peace. Those same people need all of our support to do so. And here is Abdallah's speech. Dear all, I'm honored to be given this platform. It has been a very long time since I spoke to an audience, since I now live in hiding. And I must confess, it feels a bit strange, writing from here to all of you, an imagined audience. It makes me feel almost like an old man writing his last message in life. So hear you that message. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister of Culture and Democracy, your country has not fought a war for the past 200 years. I read this fact over and over again in every single history book I managed to find about Sweden. While writing my speech, I tried to find something in common in between our two countries, Syria and Sweden. My conclusion is that our countries are very, very different, but we hold something in common, that is our humanity. Writing from Syria while bombs are falling every day, it feels like an almost impossible task to understand how a country like Sweden has never been in war for the past 200 years. What does a country like this even look like? My name is Abdallah al-Khateebs, and I'm a Palestinian Syrian activist born and raised in Syria. 27 years ago, I was born in a camp for Palestinian refugees in the outskirts of Damascus, called Yarmouk. When you are born in a refugee camp, you are called a refugee since the day you enter this world. Under a dictatorship, you become even a number, a burden. I went to university to study sociology with a strong desire to understand the cruelty of this world, a world full of wars. I never finished my degree in the end, not because I was bad or lazy, but because war visited Syria and decided to change the course of our lives. In 2011, I was one of millions of Syrians who refused to continue living under 40 years long dictatorship. We took the streets with peaceful demonstrations and non-violent civil disobedience to tell the Syrian government that we were tired of being treated without dignity. You might be wondering why I'm not here with you today. In fact, I would have loved to be with you. But because of the threats I face, it's not safe for me to try to get out of hiding and make the journey to you. I live under siege, like around 1 million Syrians across the country. 1 million Syrians, living in areas outside the control of the Syrian government. So we are being punished for our basic demands, respect and liberty. It's important to remember, though, that to live under siege is not only about the cruelty of famine, it is also about the loss of hope. I remember one early morning during the harshest period of siege in Yarmouk. I was walking through the camps of the streets of the camp, when I saw a child, about 9 years old maybe. The boy was bending over the ground looking for something. When I approached him, he closed firmly his palm. "What are you hiding?" I asked. The boy was hesitant and did not answer. Instead, he just opened his palm. He was holding exactly 8 grains of rice. 8 little grains of rice. all that he had been able to gather. The boy was collecting his daily meal. Under siege, this could be all you can get. I constantly wonder how I ended up under siege and why I have chosen to do what I'm doing today. And you might be wondering the same as well. How does a 27 years old young man decide to remain in the crossfire, although having had the opportunity to leave? I believe there is something that drives people's action at such critical moments of history. It has nothing to do with heroism. Principle, you might call it. For example, when diplomat Per-Anger decided to stand by thousands of persecuted Jews in the 1940s, I believe it was a principle that made him decide to do so. It was a principle that made him decide which side of history to stand with, the side of the oppressed. I became a human rights activist because I saw how peaceful civilians were being murdered at the hands of the Syrian government in front of my eyes. I worked in urban farming projects because without people producing food for their community, we would have starved to death again at the hands of our very own government. In fact, many did starve to death. By 2014, at least 200 civilians in Yarmouk had died as a result of starvation or lack of medical supplies by the siege imposed on us by the Syrian government. I think the question that we need to really be asking today is, faced by these injustices, how can you not become an activist? In Syria, there are humans with hopes and fears. Humans who want badly to survive and lead a normal life, just like your life. What keeps us going through this unimaginable horror and death is one single idea, that justice will be one day realized. I sincerely hope that all the crimes committed against humanity and other war crimes committed by the Syrian government and other armed groups will not pass unnoticed. It is justice, first and foremost, that I hope to see one day in Syria. The Syrian government has murdered at least 470,000 Syrians. 3,000 of them are Palestinian Syrians. The least we ask for is to bring the people responsible for these crimes to justice. Nevertheless, there is a more immediate form of justice, and that is we can work towards now. That form is about how we decide to write our history, recode it, and protect it. Winning a prize such as this one means a great deal to me. For one, I'm honored by the immense recognition. But this prize also means a lot because it reflects Sweden's vital recognition of the sacrifices made by many, many Syrians over the past years. Since I learned of the origin of the prize, the story behind it, the man it is named after, I have found the courage and compassion of the late Per-Anger a great consolation to me and to all the choices that I have made. This ceremony will be over in a short while, and I don't want to keep you from enjoying each other's company or just living another day in your lives. But if I can, I would like to ask you for one single thing. Remember the Syrians. Remember the Syrians who have been living under a dictatorship for the past 40 years and still managed to build a vibrant and active civil society movement and continue to work inside the country against all the odds. Also remember the Syrians who, while you sit and listen to my words, are being bombarded and displaced, and who might not live to see another day. Syrians who ask that you remember and shout very loudly the names of their murderers. Thank you.